All right, in 3, 2, 1.
Go! This is the podcast!
Are you telling me that you built a time machine out of a podcast?
I have come here to chew bubblegum and
Podcast.
and I'm all out of bubblegum.
Hey everyone, welcome to Get to the Movies. That's Get to the Movies with the number 2. My name is Diego De Souza.
I'm Nick Gambino.
And I'm Neil Carson.
And we're silent.
What?
I don't know why.
What is he?
Oh, I was.
What is he doing?
We got to get together, Neil, and talk about this guy. I don't know how his intros sometimes are just confusing. I don't get them.
Why is it confusing?
No, it creates a mystery.
It just...
So
Come
that
on,
it
don't
hooks the
fucking
audience.
encourage
We're an
him,
audio
okay?
podcast, and after we said our
encourage him.
name, it went into this fucking silence.
You're supposed to do a real intro to the episode. Well, okay, I'll do it.
What are we talking
And
about?
another silence
Okay.
right now. He said, I'll do it. And then he went into silence on an audio
All right,
podcast.
you need to calm
And I'm the
down.
fucking awkward one. Hello.
Oh.
Hi,
Cool
welcome to
your
today.
jets. Cool your jets. So let's talk about the movies we've been watching recently, because there's a lot of movies that have come out. And
Oh my God.
I was in the theaters 4 times last week.
Oh my gosh. I was in my living room
Wait,
4
4?
times.
Yeah.
What am I?
I saw 4.
double.
Hmm?
Are you including
What do you-
double?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I saw.
He
I'll
can
just
say it.
name
I
real
mean,
quick. I saw.
this is
Jo-
a movie
I
podcast.
figured I'd let him say it.
I saw
so didn't
Jojo
spoil
Rabbit.
it. Oh yeah.
I saw Zombieland Double Tap.
Yeah.
I saw Terminator Dark Fate, and I saw The Irishman.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
A lot of movies.
A lot of movies.
That's a lot of
And
films.
I saw one of those.
we saw Terminator Dark Fate together.
I saw Terminator Dark
Yeah,
Fate,
which I really want to talk about. So it's good that we
And
both
Diego
saw
saw it, so we can definitely spoil it.
You
Yeah.
haven't seen it, have you?
I saw
There's
it.
are there really spoilers in this movie? I mean,
I
you're
saw
gonna be
the
like,
poster.
is anyone really gonna be upset if they're spoiled by this movie?
There is actually a spoiler in the first 5 seconds of the movie that I feel
You
like
can
I
talk
wouldn't have
about it.
wanted to
I'm
know.
not
yeah.
into it.
Yeah, that's
You can
true.
talk about I'm really not into Dark Fate.
Really? That's interesting. Okay,
I
we'll
not
talk
be
about it.
honest,
Well, let me-
I
Huh?
Let
I
me talk
just-
about what we saw, just so it's out there in the ether. So I saw Dr. Sleep,
Yes.
the sequel.
You're so excited about that.
Oh my
To
God.
The Shining.
This might
Sequel to The
be my
Shining.
favorite. I mean, you know what? I'm also biased, I guess, because I really, really, really like The Shining.
Yeah.
But
But that actually makes you more of a critic if they fucked it up, because you like The Shining so much.
well, I love The Shining, but I also love The Haunting of Hill House, which was written and directed by Mike Flanagan,
Same guy.
who basically adapted Dr. Sleep, the Dr. Sleep novel,
Yeah.
to make this film. And so he wrote and directed Dr. Sleep, which is based on the Stephen King novel, which is a sequel
Yeah.
to The Shining. Which is funny because that book is a sequel to the Shining book,
Which
not
is
the
nothing like
Shining
the movie.
film.
But he made the movie to be like a sequel to and apparently he talked to Stephen King, was like, I know that you are not a fan of the Stanley Kubrick film, but
Yeah.
people are expecting a sequel film to that film.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to tweak it for that.
Well, it's crazy because in the Shining book, Jack Torrance at the end of the film basically has like a moment of clarity and becomes sane, and then blows up the Overlook Hotel and destroys the evil.
Oh,
and
that's-
that's how it ends.
No,
So it's like
it
a
ends in the movie.
definite ending. This is in the book, but in the film, obviously that doesn't happen. He's
Yeah.
consumed by the hotel, and then it's a sad ending.
Dark ending, yeah.
So in Doctor Sleep, there's things I think from the original Shining and things from the Doctor Sleep book, and it's like this weird mixture of elements from the Shining film that are not in the Shining book, and then elements from Doctor Sleep. I haven't read the Shining book or Doctor Sleep book, but I just went, after I saw the film, I was like, okay, what are all the differences or whatever? What did they take in and put out and all this stuff? But it's awesome. This film does this thing where they flesh out what the Shine is and who has it, and
So it gets more into the story of that, the things that you don't.
yeah, it's
No, aren't
and
clear.
they kind of just take, they just acknowledge people that shine can or at least some people that shine can talk to the dead and all this stuff, which is kind of what you have and in the original, in The Shining. But it's like they just fleshed this whole world out that exists, and Rebecca Ferguson, who plays this character Rose the Hat, is awesome.
Is she? Because in
Is she?
the
So
trailer,
good.
it's kind of like unclear whether or not that's going to be
It's
cool or
weird.
not.
Like I will say, like they almost spend as much time on the bad guys, fleshing them out, as they do on everyone else in the film.
Wow.
Like Ewan McGregor's character, there's several other characters, but like all those people, and then her and like her crew, they basically spend almost the same amount of time on both. And so it's like this weird thing where you like understand why the bad guys are doing this horrible fucking shit, because it's fucking horrible to get the shine or whatever. And it's like, but they're bad, you know what I mean? Like
Right.
they're these, you know. It's just so many great moments. The movie's just riddled with like really original, cool stuff. Probably stuff you haven't seen in any other film.
Right.
Like there's some scenes in this movie where you're like this is crazy. Like I've never seen a shot this way or
Really?
filmed this way, or you know, they're like basically visually showing you something that's happening that might be like, you know, difficult to communicate. Like on the pages of a book, it's like, oh, you could imagine how this is going down.
Right.
But like on film, it's like you have to adapt it in such a way that the audience can kind of understand what's going on. So without spoiling it, but
Wow.
yeah, everybody should see it. It's,
God damn
you know,
it.
if
Now
you're a fan of The
now I got to
Shining,
go see it.
I loved it. I
In
loved
theaters.
it.
I got to go see it.
The acting, like everyone in that movie is like great. And there's so many great like moments where you're like, and it's not a horror movie. Like it's not, I will say it's not, you're not, I don't know how to describe it. Like
It's not jump scary.
it's not jump scare.
different type of-
It's like this
like
almost
The
like
Witch?
a thriller. No,
That
it's-
wasn't
it's
jump
not- it's
scary.
not-
That was just, like,
there's a few
really-
disturbing moments, but they're not like
I like The Shining.
I don't know, like The Shining, like you're like you felt like disturbed.
Yeah, you're on edge.
You know, you're on the edge of your seat. Like this movie, you're on the edge of your seat and you're disturbed, I guess, in a similar way. But it's not like Saw. It's not like shock scare. It's not like that. It's not like
Like It, maybe?
There's no jump scare. No, it had a lot more jump scares.
guess it did.
Like this
Couple.
movie is like not going for jump scares. So
Interesting.
you know, people going into it expecting to be like, oh, this is going to be like the Halloween remake. No,
Oh, okay.
this is like an intelligent horror thriller.
interesting.
Yeah.
The Shining, I never expect. It was never a jump scare. Also,
Yeah,
No,
it is
but-
not a
but
jump
it's
scare
very
movie, but
disturbing.
it's very
and
disturbing. But
Jack
not a jump
Nicholson's
scare,
performance
yeah.
is very frantic.
the whole
and-
last like
and
30 minutes
Yeah.
of that movie, you're
messed
just
up.
like, you know, it's just escalating, and you're
Yeah.
like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's, exactly. And
Yeah.
you know the woman in the tub. Like there are things that are just like
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah.
there's and then the pig man. I don't know. When I
Yeah.
watched that movie, like I didn't know what was happening. At the end, I was like, "Am I going crazy? Like this is just madness." Like he's just
Yeah.
running into rooms, and there's like
yeah.
that one naked lady, and then she turns into the old lady, and she's like her skin's like peeling off all over Jack Nicholson or whatever, and he's like, "Whoa,
Yeah.
what the fuck?" And then the pig man, you know, doing whatever he was doing.
Doing his thing. You know.
Yeah, that's a movie. So all right, so Dr. Sleep, you recommend
Oh,
it.
so
Go
good,
see it.
so
So now
good.
I'm gonna have to go see it in theaters.
Yeah, Diego, you should also see it in theaters.
He's
man.
not
It's like
going
that good.
to.
It's that good.
He's not
that good?
going to.
I mean, you're a fan of The Shining.
I am a fan of The Shining.
he doesn't
then
like movies.
It's worth saying.
You know that
right?
he doesn't like movies.
It just
How
seeing in the
is
theater, I
that?
think, is like a cool experience. Like
It's just look. I am of the new generation of I have Netflix and I have all
new
these.
generation.
that's
streaming.
true. A lot of these
And it's
movies
ju-
are like
and it-
on demand,
and
like
you
a
can't.
month after
and the
they're
same
out
look,
in
the same
theaters.
quality is
No.
coming out at my house.
Not true.
Then just like the theater.
Well,
yeah,
the
Nice.
theater,
Yes.
it is a different
Yes.
experience. It's
Yeah.
more. It's
Listen-
more.
No,
there's a
listen to
di-
Neil, he
the ex-
speaks
that's
truth.
that's
You
a
can't
different
stop
word.
it.
That's a different word.
It's
The
ve- it's
experience
a lot.
is
There's
different.
less distraction.
Yeah,
It's a
the
heightened
experience is
experience.
different
Yeah.
in the theater.
That
than
increases
it
the
is
quality of
in
it.
a- No,
No,
it's
with a
different
full
experience. It doesn't increase the
surround
quality.
sound.
Different experience. That means it's a different experience.
No, it's
No,
a
it's
higher
not a
quality
no,
experience. A higher
no,
quality
No,
experience.
because I have a private experience, a private quality experience in my house watching a film.
Fuck your house.
As I have a public experience, quality experience in the movie theater.
But I feel
so
like
it's not a quality difference.
you have to have
except within the film.
what's the word? You have to be like you have to basically be dedicated, I guess. When you're at home, it's like you can't be tempted to like pull out your phone while you're watching a movie or like
I
pause the
don't.
movie and
He
go to the
always says this, I
bathroom.
don't believe him.
I
I
had to go
don't.
to the
You can ask my
bathroom during
wife.
I asked
Dr.
her.
Sleep.
She said you're a fucking liar.
I missed.
You didn't ask her. What the fuck?
I missed like a minute of Dr.
I
Sleep,
don't.
and I don't know what the fuck happened, but I feel like it was important because I had to go to the fucking bathroom.
You
And
went
it's
to the
like,
bathroom in the middle of the
Yes,
movie?
man.
I feel like you wouldn't have done that if I was there.
I probably wouldn't.
My
have. I
wife
don't
knows,
know.
dude,
I
I
was
am
like,
so
my
ready
brother
just
had
to
already
judge
gone, and then the idea in my head, and I had to go, and I drank this huge cup of coffee, and I was like,
Yeah.
I was like, well, it seems like nothing's gonna happen, and I missed the whole beginning where Ewan
quality-
McGregor meets this character, and I'm like,
Yeah.
So
The
then there's like
quality
she
at
does this
home
thing later in the movie, and I'm
is
like, why is
this.
she calling him that? And then I didn't get it because it happened right at that scene that I missed.
I would have.
I really don't. My wife will tell you that I'm like, when I'm watching a movie, I'm watching it straight. I got upset at her Saturday because we were laying on the couch. We're going to watch something on Netflix. We're going to watch The King. I said,
yeah.
okay, are you sure? Because I said, you seem tired, and The King's not a fast-paced film.
Yeah.
And she said, yeah, no, let's watch it. 5 fucking minutes into the damn movie, she was asleep.
Sleep.
And she's like, I'm sorry. I'm like, I'm turning it off. I'm like, there's no way we can watch.
That happens with my wife all the
turn it
time.
I'm like, no. She's like, so every 5 minutes she's waking up. I'm sorry, I'm asleep. I'm like, you don't need to tell me.
I love slow burn movies, man. I don't know what it
do.
is. Like I can watch action movies, that's fine, but like a good slow burn, I fucking love it. Like a detective film or something
need to
where
watch-
it's like fucking L.A. Noir or
need to
whatever.
watch The
or
King.
not L.A. Confidential.
LA Confidential. I love that one.
Like I could just watch that shit with the like slow music or
Yeah.
like I just rewatched because it was on TV randomly. Black Dahlia, which
Yeah.
didn't get great reviews, but I actually like that movie a lot.
Yeah.
Scarlett Johansson and
You need to watch The King.
Aaron Eckhart
It's
and all that.
it's slow burning, but it's like it keeps the rawness
Yeah.
of it and the real. It's so realistic.
Yeah,
It's
is
really
it?
good.
No, this is somehow connected to
King Henry.
William Wallace or whatever.
No,
or am I thinking of the wrong
it's
one?
about King Henry.
You're thinking of that one with Chris Pine.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's not the King. That's something.
No, what's that called again? The
I forgot what that one's called. Yeah.
You were obsessing over it when it came out.
That was like the sequel
Not the
to
Viking. Yeah, you. should
No, I know
talk
what you're
about
talking
it.
about, but I watched it. I know what you're talking about.
Braveheart.
I
There it is.
didn't.
Braveheart.
Yeah, I didn't obsess over it.
No, you kept telling us about it. Like we need to watch it.
Yeah,
blah, blah, blah.
I kept saying you guys need to see
Yeah,
it.
that's
Oh,
It's
so
actually
this
could
is something new.
This is
a
yeah,
different
it's
This
thing.
just
called
came
King
out.
Henry.
Yeah, like in the last couple weeks. Timothy Chalamet.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's for Middle Ages type period stuff. Like,
Just
I
watch
need
the
I need
damn
there to be
film.
fantasy mixed in because if there's no fantasy, I like it's. I'm not like I won't fall asleep,
Just
but
watch it.
I'm not as invested.
Just watch it.
It's all that pomp and circumstance, and I'm like,
It's actually pretty good. It's actually really good. It's
all right.
It's
is
slow
it a,
burning,
is
but
it a
it's
movie
really
or a
good.
series?
It's a movie.
It's a movie
It's a
on
movie.
Netflix. It's a Netflix
Yeah, it's
movie.
really good. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
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 So I saw
I'll check it out.
I saw The Irishman, and it was really good. It's
Scorsese.
Huh?
Scorsese.
Scorsese and
Scorsese.
Denada and
Kaiser Scorsese.
Pachana and
Kaiser
and Pesca
Scorsese.
and Pesca.
What?
I don't know.
I said Kaiser Scorsese.
That's funny. Usual
Because
suspects.
Kaiser.
No, no, I
Soze.
got
Is anybody
it.
getting the reference?
No, I got the reference, but I thought it was funnier to use the way you said it to say all their names. Denada.
Oh, I
Pesca.
did not get that. I thought you were just saying gibberish.
Pachana. I just thought it was funny the way you said it.
Pachana.
This is the first film
That might be like
Robert
an
De
offensive
Niro
accent.
has been directed by Scorsese.
I really want you to say no. I really want you to say that again, and I want everybody who knows that that's bullshit that's listening to the podcast right now to say "fuck you, Diego."
Wait,
he's
look it
done
up.
7 or 8 movies with Scorsese. You mean Pacino?
Al
Oh,
Pacino.
Pacino.
You said De
Pacino.
Niro.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck
Yeah.
I knew you were fucking it up,
Yeah.
but I wanted you to sit in it for a moment.
Wait, is that true? Is that
yeah,
really?
it's first time
That's the first
Pacino
thing?
and Scorsese.
Yeah,
have
Pacino,
been
Oh,
that's
together.
right.
but Pacino
Sorry, I was
and De Niro
thinking-
have been in multiple
Yes, they
films.
were in
Correct,
Heat.
yeah.
They were in technically Godfather Part 2. They were in Righteous Kill.
Righteous Kill. Yeah,
yeah.
that was the one everybody was like, "Oh, it's
He
going to be great," and
sacrificed
then
the
it was like
podcast
garbage.
for that.
Sorry, that was fun. So, but let me talk about The Irishman. So, The Irishman, 3.5-hour movie. This is Scorsese at his.
Wow, dude,
What?
this is your boy. You don't like Scorsese?
No, I just didn't like Nick at that moment. All right, cool.
At
We can
that
move forward.
moment only? Wow, that's impressive.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Okay, so Scorsese's. This guy's been doing movies for close to 50 years.
Yeah.
Or actually, no, over 50 years at this point. So it's literally, he takes his entire bag of tricks. He takes all of his mastery and he makes a movie that's so confident and so competently made that you could even sit in the silences and you could tell he's okay with it. Like, I don't know how to explain that exactly. I've tried to say that in a way that people understand, but
Yeah.
he lets moments breathe. But it's only something that somebody so confident can do, and it works, where he's creating this world and this story, and it's a fucking awesome story. Pacino is at his probably best since, like, Son of a Woman. Like, he's so good in it.
Really?
Yeah, as Jimmy Hoffa.
I don't know why, but I feel like like it's been a while since I've seen him
Kill it?
because
Well,
I had just let it go. I'm like, he's an older guy. Like, why am
Yeah.
I expecting him to be like fucking Attica?
He's gonna be
or
like
whatever.
80 next year, or he just turned 80.
I know
Yeah,
he's
it's
older.
great.
He's an old dude. So
Did
I'm
you
like,
guys see the behind the
I can't put all that
But
pressure
he was
on him
great.
to like
you don't
deliver.
know Jack, and then he played Joe Paterno.
Yeah.
Like he is, and he
You don't know Jack?
yeah, he plays Jack Kevorkian.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Oh, it's an HBO movie, so it's
Okay.
on HBO. He's still fucking great. You know what I mean? But you haven't seen him do those classic Pacino type
I
movies
know,
since the
it's-
70s or 80s, or since the early 90s. He did Heat and he did Set of a Woman. But he's great in this fucking movie. He plays Jimmy Hoffa.
Yeah.
And he's great because Jimmy Hoffa was a kind of a loudmouth, blowhard kind of guy, and was fucking just going at it. And it explains the story basically. If it's true, but it's based on a book that's supposed to be true or whatever, of
Wasn't there
what
some
really
guy
happened to
that-
Jimmy Hoffa.
Yeah.
He said like the story's like not true. He's like, I know what really happened to Jimmy
Yeah.
Hoffa, some investigator or
Right.
whatever. And I'm like, why are you running your mouth? He's
I
like,
Did you guys watch the behind the scene?
Scorsese
You
not
would
to
love
do
it.
it.
Yeah.
The behind the scene, yeah, you can see Scorsese conducting it like he's an like orchestra conductor when they're doing a scene, and
Yeah.
he's behind the screen, and he's just going.
I mean,
this.
for him, it's like you have Scorsese, who's a veteran. You have all these other principal actors that are like, like some of the best of the best in
Yeah.
the industry. And then it's like, what if everybody's like jiving? It's like, how much direction do you really need?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
And they all have experience doing these kind of like mob-ish type things.
Exactly.
So
They all
it's
kind of
like,
know. But it's cool.
they get
'cause-
that.
So
But to have
character.
it mastered, like what you said, he really knows how to control moments, and you see
Yeah.
that in every film of his. Like even if there's a silent moment, a pause, it means something. Everything means something, and so I'm gonna watch it, but it's gonna be on Netflix.
Everybody,
Yeah,
it's gonna be
Scorsese's
on Netflix
young-
next week.
yeah.
His movies are like-
well, by the time this podcast drops, actually, it'll have come out, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it's so well done. So Al Pacino's fantastic. And Joe Pesci is fucking awesome in it. Like he's great.
So how much is he like? A third of the film?
Yeah,
a half
no,
the film?
he's a big chunk of the film. No, he's
that's cool.
he's really in it. De Niro's the main guy.
Yeah.
He plays, I guess, the Irishman. Joe Pesci is a boss, and he's the one. Like they're like,
he finally gets to play like
He
the
gets to
thing
be
he
the
was always
boss.
trying to get to in every other mob film.
yeah, this is not a redo of his Goodfellas or Casino at all, and neither is
So
De
he's like a
Niro's.
Don
De
or
Niro is
something.
very different. Like his character is very different than any of those other movies. He's not a brash asshole, kind of like in your fucking face gangster. He's not like that at all. In fact, he's kind of more soft spoken, and it's really interesting. Like he didn't try to do any of give these guys roles like they'd done before. Almost
Right.
like he wanted to do something else with them, and which made it just really interesting. Harvey Keitel's in it. He's got a smaller role in it. He's not in it a lot.
Is
but-
what's his name in it? Mr. From
Mr. from
Dog Day no, not Dog Day Afternoon. What am I thinking of? The dude who's in all the Tarantino films. Is he Mr. White?
Oh, Michael Madsen?
No, not Michael Madsen.
Oh, Harvey Keitel.
No, not Harvey Keitel.
Tim Roth?
Tim Roth.
Why would Tim Roth be in it?
I don't know. He's like always in these mob movies.
He's never been in these, Bob. He's been in the
Has he?
Tarantino films.
Yeah.
Oh, he was in.
that's
He
what
was
I'm
in. He was
thinking
in.
of.
He was in Hoodlum.
Okay.
In the late '90s, he played Lucky Luciano, I think.
Oh, with what's his
okay.
name?
Lawrence Fishburne.
Lawrence Fishburne,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So maybe that's what you're thinking of.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah. But no. Tim Roth's not in it. But
Okay.
like Anna Paquin's in it.
Yeah.
Jesse Plemons shows up in it. From Game Night and Fargo. I think he was in Fargo. Yeah, he met Kirsten Dunst on Fargo and they got married. He's the guy. He's the
Oh.
weird neighbor in Game Night.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
I know
yeah,
what you're
yeah.
talking about.
He was,
Yeah, in,
USS Callister,
Yeah, the
Black Mirror.
spaceship or whatever. Yeah, the Star
Yeah,
Trek.
yeah. So he's in it. Like Ray Romano's in it, and he's
Yeah.
great in it. Ray Romano's great in it. Like he plays a lawyer for the like.
I love
there's
how Ray
all these
Romano
people-
went from
A comedy show.
sitcom. He's
Everybody
stand-up.
Loves Raymond to all these like
Everybody
all
hates
these like
Raymond.
mob type
Yeah.
things. Like he's on that short.
You're having a tough time.
what is it? Get Shorty.
Dude.
Oh, the show?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I haven't watched. The
Oh,
show.
you haven't watched Get
No? Is
Shorty?
it
Have
good?
you watched it?
No.
The TV show? Really good.
Yeah.
Really good. He's great on it.
Yeah, I haven't watched it.
Yeah.
Anyways, The Irishman. I remember watching it and kind of going back to our analogy. It felt like a full meal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it really felt like, oh wow, because it's 3.5 hours. They don't cut anything. There's nothing they shy away from. Just like really to fill out the story and give you the full thing. And it does span many generations, but it kind of jumps back and forth. And there's just, I loved it. And there's Joe Pesci. There's this time when he's like an old man, which I thought was so fucking well done. Like old, like and like I don't really want to say much. You watch it, you'll see it. I was like, God, this guy's a good fucking actor. Like I was like, Joe Pesci,
He's retired.
we
too.
miss you. Like really, like he was so good in the whole movie, but he's so good in that part, in that moment, especially. I was like, oh no, he is that guy. Like right now, but he wasn't. But he was acting. But I was like, it was so perfect.
Well, that's the thing about Joe Pesci. It's like what we talked about Will Smith. Is like he does himself in every film. Like he acts.
He wasn't doing himself. No. I think Joe Pesci. What I'm saying is,
There's
different,
always
it's a different range 'cause he's doing.
there's the character element to
Yeah.
what they're doing, but
He's very different than any other movie, Joe Pesci, in this one. That's what I was trying to say. Like,
All right.
he actually is doing it different. Like, he's not playing a role like he's played it before. He's playing it. He's not a piece of shit at all.
Wait.
He's actually like the guy
Well, I
you
don't think
actually
he's a
like.
piece of shit.
He's had
you
like
admire
20
him.
years to like
Yeah.
not, act. So
Yeah.
he's like, I'm sure he had to like get back in the groove.
He's
and
not a
all that,
blowhard.
like-
He's not loud. He's not any of those things.
What was
he's
his
actually
last
like,
movie?
he's like an anchor. Huh?
What was his last movie?
We
Good
talked-
Shepherd?
He had like
No,
one
he
other
had that
one.
small
We
role.
talked about that.
Yeah, we talked about it, yeah.
in one of the last.
we're gonna
podcasts.
skip your moments because you're just not having any
You got like
information. with your shit.
Alzheimer's. What is
Yeah,
happening?
I don't know what's. Yeah.
Jesus. No, but the Irishman, I will say it's like the two analogies: full meal and like a fine wine.
You know, we've had that analogy for years.
I know.
It started with that whole big debate.
I remember the
where
burger and
burger,
it was
yeah.
the Stanley Kubrick versus Christopher Nolan is where it came up in like our 10th episode or whatever.
Yeah.
No, but
Oh yeah.
but it was like
the food analogy.
but it was the movie's so smooth and like a fine wine. It just goes down beautifully. I loved it, and you kind of just sink into the movie.
Yeah.
And you just experience it. It's not fast and frenetic like Goodfellas or Casino or Wolf of Wall Street. It's not that kind of movie. It's not this where if you're expecting pop, 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 like that kind of Scorsese, it's not that.
It's like a slow burn.
It's but not quite as. It doesn't feel like a slow burn, and the 3.5 hours went by like that. It's just you're in
I
the
said
world.
that's good.
Yeah, you're in the world, and you're feeling it, and you're having a lot of like I said, he's letting the silences play out and like letting the movie breathe a lot, and I really enjoyed it.
I actually never really talked
Yeah.
about my film. I don't think I had it.
Which one?
I just started talking about The King and we moved forward.
Was that the movie you wanted to talk about?
I don't know.
You did
talk
watch.
about-
I watched a bunch of stuff recently.
Yeah, you said
I
that-
went into Disney Plus and I watched some nostalgic stuff. Like,
Right.
I really got into Tron.
I
rewatched
love
the
those.
original Tron and I rewatched.
I really like Tron Legacy.
I like the sequel too.
And I hope they do something else with that because it
It didn't do well.
Well,
Tron
it
Legacy?
didn't,
Yeah, it
like,
didn't.
but
But
when
I
you
really
watch
liked
it,
it.
I was like, this is actually really good.
I thought it
It's
was
a
great.
good story.
Yeah.
And I hope they do something else with it. So I watched Tron. I watched some old stuff. What?
Mandalorian.
I watched Mandalorian. Yeah,
Yeah.
but
So,
that's
so
a show.
pick one. Pick something to talk about.
I want to talk about all my experiences.
Oh,
which
scary
is-
Hey, one
stories.
thing-
Scary. I can talk about scary stories to tell them.
Just pick
Do you
one.
remember the scary story books?
I don't.
Why do
I'm
I
not
have to
really-
pick? You know, I don't ever pick one.
Yes, that's not true at all.
don't
What are
ever
you
pick
talking about?
one.
You've done that many times. But what I'm saying is, we're sitting here talking about one
All right.
thing, giving a full thing, and then
I
you're
just
sitting there
follow-
going, and I did this, and I did that, and then I
Yeah.
woke up and I ate a fucking breakfast burrito. Da, 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 da.
No, I don't eat breakfast burritos. I think that's just American thing.
I haven't had a good breakfast burrito in a long time.
Austin. They're known for the breakfast burritos.
Austin, Texas.
Yeah. Breakfast tacos. Breakfast
How
tacos.
does that help me?
Yeah, look at them.
How does it not help you?
When am I
Did
going
you
to go
just
to
name, like-
Austin, Texas?
You just did a cross-country trip. You could figure out a time to go to Austin, Texas.
To get a fucking
Well, we
burrito.
didn't- we
Yes,
didn't-
please
we
go
did
to
the
Austin,
northern
Texas to
route,
get a
not the
burrito.
southern
When you
route.
go there to help build the wall, it's like 2 hours north of Mexico.
the-
Dude, I'll be
Fuck.
climbing over that wall by the time they build that wall.
No,
Anyway.
man, they're going under.
How are you gonna get your drugs?
Canada.
That's where they.
That's
all
where a
come
lot
from.
of a lot of those illegal drugs are coming in.
But
through
they're
Canada.
white,
Everybody's
so
talking about
nobody's
Mexico.
gonna talk.
I'm like,
Nobody's gonna talk about that
Yeah,
because
what
a bunch
about
of
those
white guys. They look
Frenchies?
like us, so it's like it's fucked
all
up.
those Frenchies are bringing drugs into this country. Where do you think all that
I
cocaine and
know.
heroin's coming from?
The drugs
Anyway,
are coming from
Diego.
Canada. They're little fucking
Narcos
canoes
is
on
a
the Niagara.
lie, dude. Did they talk about Canada in Narcos?
No, did you read that article?
Where's that
like
movie?
last year?
Yeah.
Bullshit.
Article last year where the military actually found a ping in the water, and it was a submarine owned by the narcos,
Wow.
by the cartel. I'm sorry.
Yeah, of course. They
That's-
got
they got so
billions
much
of
money.
dollars.
So you know
yeah.
those motherfuckers like, yeah, fuck, let
They
them
got
build the wall.
U-boats
We'll
and
take-
Submarines.
We take our sub to Canada and ship it in that way. So
Yeah.
There's no
yeah.
stop
hello,
it.
Toronto.
Yeah.
What would happen if they legalized drugs? Okay, that's a loaded question. Let's go on to your.
Mandalorian or Scary Movies. I saw Scary Movies, so I did like
Scary
it.
Stories.
Or Scary Stories to Tell.
You
in the
saw
Dark,
that?
yeah.
Scary Story to
No.
tell.
Oh, you watched it.
You know what I didn't like about it?
Oh, we didn't like something about it.
I didn't. Yeah, I didn't like the fact that they dumbed it down a lot. Like the
Well, they
trailer,
didn't make it rated R.
the
It's
trailer
PG-13.
made you feel like, oh shit, I'm going to be scared. When I watched it,
There are moments. There's like moments.
No.
They're jump scares. They're not
No,
like
there
you're
was
not like
PG-13,
disturbed,
no
but they're
just
jump scares.
PG-13.
there's no,
PG-13, yeah.
there's not,
They're definitely jump scares, dude.
no,
Definitely.
not to me. Like maybe I just got numbed by it. I don't know.
But
I
it
think
also
there's,
took
like,
a lot of the
things-
like well-remembered stories.
It was
from
great.
those,
Yeah,
when
I love that,
They
'cause that-
represented it in such a way where you could like get all of it
Yeah.
in one film.
Yeah, and I watched it.
And
I
they
think they're
set it up
planning
for
to
a
do it
sequel.
They did,
Yeah.
and I like it. I like the film.
Yeah.
I just wish they didn't dumb it down and had like that lady coming down the red room.
Oh yeah,
Yo.
that was a little. I mean, I wasn't like scared or disturbed because these movies don't really do that to me anymore. But I was like, this is like dope.
That's fucking
this
creepy.
is cool.
Like
it was
when
creepy as
they
shit.
got the
It was
close
like
up of
this
her,
super disturbing, like
and she goes,
creepy. Obese.
remember when she did
There's
that?
not a lot. It's not a lot of CGI, right?
No, it's a lot of practical effects.
No, it's-
I
yeah,
think.
it's-
well,
it's,
except for the jangly man, seemed like a lot of CGI.
Yeah, he was CGI. He was literally probably the only thing that was CGI. But it's Guillermo del Toro, so he produced it.
Produced by,
Yeah,
yeah. And he likes to go more practical.
Yeah, he loves.
Yeah, the
he's a lot
jangly
more
man is like, imagine all your body parts like disassemble, but then reassemble in a goofy way, and then this thing's like running at you like upside down, like with its head flipped around. It's like, and he just like says your name over and over, like nah.
Yeah, he
Like
was
that's
very-
the jangly man. That was.
yeah.
I mean, if I was in the movie theater, I'd be like on the edge of my seat, trying to like having fun, but I wouldn't be like scared. But it'd be fun.
I think this is a great film.
Yeah.
For a young
yes,
teenage
or even
slumber
adults
party,
that hate scary movies.
or
We know some.
Yes.
or Nick.
No, he.
Not me,
he-
my wife.
He's not
Or
bothered
your-
by
or your
scary
wife,
movies.
yeah. Okay.
She doesn't like scary movies.
But I was at a friend's house. And,
This was
and
literally like I'm sorry. This was literally like almost watching Super 8 with a lot more showing of the creature.
like I guess yeah. I mean I
For
can
the
see
kids?
that. It's like a group
Yeah.
of young I guess young adults. They're like
So Stranger Things.
15.
Yeah, it was
16.
like it was within that era 'cause it was
Older,
80s.
older, I
It
think.
was
Okay.
80s.
Yeah.
Oh, it takes place in the 80s?
Yes.
No, it takes place in like the
I'm sorry. Yeah. No.
during Vietnam.
So 60s
Because
or
remember
70s?
that there's a character who fled the draft or whatever. One of the main characters.
So it's 60s,
Correct.
or
yeah.
60s or
yeah,
70s?
60s. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
interesting. I didn't
yeah.
realize that.
It
Yeah,
did.
yeah.
You're
It's-
right. You're right.
And like it's weird too because you're like there are a lot of kids get dead, or at least you think they're dead, and you don't know what.
Get
You just
dead.
assume they're dead, and then you're like, are they gonna bring these kids back? Because they're just kicking kids off. Like they introduce all these
They
main
don't
characters,
die.
and then
They
they're like,
disappear.
yeah, they like get absorbed by the story, creatures or whatever, and you're like, is this? So I guess they're just gonna end this with all these kids dead. Then I guess
Yeah.
that's just how. And then at the end, I mean, it's a spoiler.
Don't spoil it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'll probably watch it.
But yeah, they set it up for a sequel essentially, which was interesting. But I liked it. I thought it was well directed. I thought it was well acted. I thought the kids did a great job.
Yeah.
I liked that they highlighted. You know, if you're familiar, because when I was in elementary school, they would have book fairs where
Yeah,
they
I
would
used to have
sell
those too.
The Scholastic.
I may
book
You
have
know what
read
probably
it.
set my
I used to love going to those book fairs. It's
Yeah.
cool.
You know what
get
probably set
scary
my
movies,
standards
yeah.
for it? It.
Yeah, but you can't compare it to it.
Well,
man.
that's what I'm
Stephen
saying.
King, dude. Like,
Yeah, but the movie itself is
But
just
the-
such a
the-
good movie. Like,
But it's like the Goosebumps movies. Like I loved Goosebumps books as a kid, but now I'm like, if I'm gonna watch a movie with Jack Black running around pretending to be
Actually, they were
scared,
good.
It was
I'm
actually
like,
really bad.
They
It
were
wasn't
fun. They
bad.
were fun.
They're fun,
Yeah.
but they're not
The
scary.
first one
But
was
I
I mean,
was
it was
like,
the show. Remember the Goosebumps show from the 90s?
Yeah.
but even that show, like as a kid, like it
It was like Who's Afraid
I
of the
guess
Dark?
I wasn't that. Yeah, Who's Afraid of the Dark? Like I love that shit, and it was like scary, but it wasn't like I didn't watch like
Yeah.
Nightmare on Elm
It wasn't
Street
The
or
Shining
something.
or Nightmare. Yeah, on Elm
Yeah,
Street.
it
Or
was like
Halloween.
scary enough where you could go to sleep and not have nightmares.
Yeah.
but
Okay.
So
But
yeah, so I watched that. It was.
You were disappointed a little bit because you were really hyped about that movie.
I don't want to say I'm disappointed because I enjoyed it. I would just say I expected
It's
something more.
You wanted to be blown away, and you weren't blown away.
I wanted to have my I read those books,
Maybe
and
if
those
you-
books were fucking creepy as hell.
Maybe if
Yeah.
you'd seen it in theaters, you
No.
would have had a higher quality experience.
No,
You should see Dr. Sleep, and we should talk about that.
I'm going to see it in
I
theaters
should
probably this
see.
week now.
I
Now
doubt
I want
that.
to.
It's awesome.
I doubt
It's awesome.
that that's gonna be my next theater.
Highly doubt it.
Well, we
But
got.
I
there's
can
a lot
promise
of
you
movies
this.
coming out.
I'll tell you what. I will go watch Irishman next week.
What's on Netflix?
On Netflix, it's coming out Wednesday. Oh no, it's a week and a half. Well, by the time this podcast dropped, it's already on Netflix.
Yeah.
I think.
I'm
I
gonna
don't
keep my
know
promise.
I don't know when
I'm
this
gonna
podcast
watch
dropping.
it.
3.5
I promise you
hours.
100% that I will watch it prior
It
to
did not
this
feel like
podcast
3.5
done.
hours. I was shocked at how much it didn't feel like 3.5 hours. And my sister didn't even fall asleep, and she falls asleep in everything.
Dr. Sleep is like 2.5 hours.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like that.
And I wish it was
missed-
longer.
I went to the
I
3.5
wish it
hour
was
movie,
longer.
and
Like,
I
that's how
missed.
good it was.
I missed 3 to 3.5 hour movies. Like I missed that because I was big in the 90s. It felt like,
Yeah.
or even earlier, prior to the 90s.
Well, Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. Okay.
I feel like you had Lawrence of Arabia, and then it skipped to Lord of the
No,
Rings.
no, you had like JFK, you had Malcolm X, you had
Yeah.
Braveheart,
Yeah.
you had Titanic, all 3-hour plus movies in one sitting in the theaters. I used to see these Dances with Wolves, like I miss Gandhi. I missed.
You
that.
should go and get the
Chaplin, I
quality
think,
of a
was-
home movie, like Netflix.
All right, you need
or
to
Amazon.
calm your taste.
I honestly, I'm not a huge fan of hour-and-a-half movies.
Hour and a half?
For sometimes,
Yeah.
sometimes it works for a quick
It's
comedy,
just-
quick
for-
comedy kind of thing.
Yeah, on comedies sometimes.
Good Boys.
but, like,
I watched Good Boys,
any
and Good
drama-
Boys was pretty short.
It was Rambo. It was Rambo 2. That's the one that set the standard for 90-minute movies. That's what did it. That's
I don't
that,
like
that,
it.
that was there was some reason they had to do a 90-minute movie on that one, and then they were like, "Oh, this works," and then they started just doing that like crazy for action and comedies.
I mean, if the movie's a great movie, then that's fine. But
Yeah.
on just in general, if I see a movie that's an hour and a half, I'm like, ugh.
well,
Do I
no, when
wanna
you see a
just
movie
wait?
that's hour and 18, you know that there was a problem, and the studio's like, cut everything.
I don't know. It's rare that I'll see one that
Yeah.
low. But,
There are some. I watched Loaded Weapon Part 1. Remember that movie? Love that movie. It's on Netflix right now.
Is
I
it
haven't
an
seen
hour
it.
and 18 minutes?
It's an hour and 20 minutes.
No.
But
wow.
those spoof movies have to be. You can't watch 2 hours of those parody spoof movies that there's nothing serious.
Is that the
there's no
one
real
with Bruce
character
Willis
arcs.
where he's like, wrong?
Yeah,
game,
wrong. No, this is 403. You want 304. Tell them. They blow up the wrong camper on the beach. No problem. No problem. Anyways, let's real quick because we have to end this soon. Let's talk about Terminator Dark Fate. You and I both
Oh, yeah,
saw
that
it.
happened.
No, let's talk about it. Okay. So first off,
Not a bad movie by any stretch.
No,
of
we
the
really liked
imagination.
it.
I was entertained.
yes, we were entertained. We really did enjoy it. It's a really enjoyable movie. It's good. You could easily probably say it's the best Terminator movie since Terminator 2. You can go as far as to say that. But I liked all the Terminator
You
movies. up to this
sounded
point.
like you reached for that.
No. Here's what I'm going to say though, because
I feel like it's
people
equal to
didn't
the
like Salvation.
sequels to Terminator 2.
Yeah, people didn't like Salvation. People didn't like Genesis.
I like
like
Salvation.
both
I
of
like
those.
Genesis, and
I
I like
like
Terminator
Salvation.
3.
I like Rise of the Machines too. I didn't love it though, so I would say this is better than Rise of the Machines.
Which is 3.
Yes,
With
which
that
is
chick.
great. With the chick and with Nick Stahl as John Connor.
Oh yeah, I don't
Linda
know
Hamilton.
why.
Sarah Connor's dead and Claire Danes in it.
Yeah, Nick Stahl and anything. I think he's a great actor, but
Yeah.
now he's
Let
like.
me ask you guys this:
like-
Do you
He's
think
Edward Furlong
that
Yeah.
from this film
for a load.
they should not make another one? Here's why I'm saying. I'm not saying that as in it's a bad. I'm saying
I think they shouldn't.
that
They need to remake Terminator 2.
No, unless James Cameron's going to direct it. Here's what I'll say: unless James Cameron's
He's
going to
not.
direct it, which he's
Dude,
not.
He's in Avatar Land, man.
That's what I'm
Until
saying.
the day's dead.
So he's not going to do it. I don't think they should do it without him directing it. Now he had his hand on the script a little bit on this one, and he produced it, but he didn't direct it. And here's the only issue I really had with this movie. Well, first off, they didn't do anything new with it. The story was similar to Terminator 2, but it was a little different, and it was fine. I was fine with the story. The problem was the CG. The CGI was just rampant. It was just way too much. It didn't need. You watched Terminator 2 in 1991. It was mainly practical, and it had some CGI for T-1000.
Yeah, but I think the reason Terminator 2 did as well as it did back in the day
It was new
wasn't just
technology.
because it was a great action film, because there were a lot of great action films back then. It was the introduction of CG. I think people had never seen that like liquid metal shit before,
Not
and they
like
were
that.
like, "What the fuck?"
I
Like,
mean,
this
The
movie's
Abyss
crazy.
had a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, and the Abyss was like the precursor
Yeah.
to it, but it was like it was something that people had never seen before, and that like blew everybody away. And
Yeah.
just the incredible, like the movie is like an incredible action film. Like
Yeah.
there's just some incredible stuff in it, and then we talked about this before, but you just had a series of deaths in Hollywood, and then it just became easier to do everything in CG. Because this movie, you would not be able to do a practical version of this. I mean,
I think they should have done less.
you could have built moving sets or something like that, and like somehow made that work with wire work, but it would have been complicated and dangerous.
Christopher Nolan did it.
For some people and the actors.
Christopher Nolan did it in I think Interstellar. He did some practical shit like that with that.
With Dark Knight Rises, that scene mostly CG where they're in the airplane, and it's like
no, it's mainly practical. Christopher Nolan has a policy where he will not do it CG. J.J. Abrams actually has the same thing. He will not do it CGI if he
J.J. Abrams
can do
is
it practical. That is true. Star Wars is Star Wars though. That's gonna be the way. But if you watch Star Trek, like he did a lot of that shit in Star Trek. Surprisingly, you have to do CG in those films, but he does a lot of practical stuff. Surprisingly, but Christopher Nolan does a lot of practical stuff. He goes, if I can't do it practically, I will use CG. Yeah. And Tom Cruise does a lot of that with his own films. There are people who are purists in that, and if you look at their films, they're at a higher level than everybody else, and that's one of the common denominators. So I'm like, you have to acknowledge that. Yeah. Tim Miller kind of went fucking crazy with the CG in this film and shouldn't have done it because it takes you out of it. And he did it even with human type, when the human are kind of
elements.
Like, yeah, like okay, like Mackenzie Davis is a heightened like a
human.
What did they call her? Yeah, she's augmented. She's an augmented human where I'm an augment humanoid. Or whatever. Yeah, and that which is fine, and she was good in it. But then when she would do certain stuff that was like heightened stuff, it was obvious they were using CG to do it. So I'm like, that's not her doing it. That's a fucking computer image, and it would change the whole body.
I think she did like a lot of the motion and stuff, and then
I'm talking about the jumping and the run. Yeah.
All the jumping was like corny,
and the whole airplane scene.
Was like,
and the whole like when you have a video game character jump and they're like,
I hate it. I hate that. I hate that.
Where they just turn into like this weird animation that you know what I'm saying?
Like Matrix
play a
Revolutions.
third-person game and you jump. You press a jump button, their whole body like leaps with their arms and their legs in the air. Like that's how she leaped on everything.
I don't know why they did that. That
do you think they tried to create a physics to a new body form or something?
No, because they did it with him too. Yeah, I mean to a degree, yes, they were trying to do it, but really what it was just plain old CG that we see in every fucking blow 'em up action film these days, and that's not what Terminator's supposed to be. But
we can't complain about this.
No, that's
anymore.
what I'm saying. That's the only problem I had with the movie. Otherwise, I loved it. I loved Linda Hamilton. I loved Arnold. I actually loved his whole storyline. When he came into the film, I was like here for that. I loved that.
It's a jarring. There's an aspect of the film, so something happens in the beginning, and then they introduce Arnold later in the film.
Let's just talk about it because he's fine with us spoiling it. So go ahead.
You're fine with spoilers?
He said he was. He's not into it. He's probably not going to watch it for a long time.
All right.
After Terminator 2, I was like,
okay. The movie starts with
Nick. I was giving the okay, and that was like really abrupt.
All right, go ahead.
It's okay.
Okay, so basically the movie starts with you know how Edward Furlong's back in this movie as John Connor?
Yes.
He's in it for 3 seconds at the beginning, doesn't even say any words. It starts with they stopped Terminator 2. They stopped the future from Judgment Day from happening in 1997. But they didn't stop shit. They sent back more than one Terminator to kill John Connor. So it starts with Linda Hamilton, Sarah Connor, and John Connor on a beach or whatever, and he's getting drinks or whatever. He turns around,
like,
and there's an Arnold Terminator sitting right there, and he blows him away.
No, he walks out of like the ocean or some shit, or he.
I don't think it showed him walking out of the ocean. I think he just
and it
appeared.
was all like
he just appeared.
The de-aging.
Yeah, it was
whatever, and he just blows John Connor away, and they showed John Connor getting blown away, like he gets shot with a shotgun.
Young, like 13-year-old John Connor.
Yeah, like how he is in Terminator 2, and then it's like Terminator Dark Fate, and you're like, what did this guy John Connor right about?
So it kills John Connor from the second movie, which, by the way, fucking goddamn it, no, I really liked his character and his whole role in that first one. It sucks.
James Cameron's okay with it.
Yeah,
he produced it.
Anyway, so he does that, and she freaks out, and then the Terminator walks away and leaves, right? And he's gone. And she's sitting there, like, basically cradling her dead son and, like, just, like, sobbing over it. And then it jumps to present day, basically, or 2020. And so basically what it goes, when they do see Arnold is now, he is that Terminator that blew her son away. Yeah. And once he finished his mission, he had no further orders. So he has AI and machine learning. He basically just
created a purpose for himself.
Yeah, he had to create a purpose, a new mission for himself, and it was to say that he found this woman and her son who was basically being beaten or raped or whatever by their husband or whatever, and he killed him and saved her.
I don't
And
think they
now
say
he's-
he killed the guy. I think
think he did, though.
he just took her away and stopped.
Yeah, and he
separated
created a
them.
family with them and basically started raising this kid and loving her and basically
Robot
doing,
Arnold.
But there's no physical connection with them. It's
I didn't
just,
think so.
He's just he basically said that at one point, but he just sat there and he learned. He learned about everything, and he didn't meet her for a good 10 years or whatever.
He
and
became human.
maybe, and then he just
Well, I think because the boy looked at Arnold as like a father figure because he was like a child.
Yes.
He was like an infant or something when they
Right.
met. So,
and he doesn't feel love
it's
in the
kind
way
of a
that
cool.
humans do.
It's a cool twist on this character, I
Yeah.
thought, and he's funny. He has like weird dad jokes or
Yeah.
something. Like he says
But
funny,
it doesn't go too
silly
far
dad
where it feels
things.
off. It doesn't feel
Yeah,
silly.
he like has a job at like at like a blind
But
store or
it's
something, talking
curtains.
about draperies or curtains or some
curtains.
shit. And it's like all of that is like endearing and fun, and it like kind of like in a weird way you're like, all right, I'm glad that they did this.
Yes.
Because like I don't know if I was 100% sold on like, okay, so basically, even though Linda Hamilton stopped Judgment Day, like mankind is just garbage, and they're gonna build a fucking AI that's gonna
It's
kill
not
everybody
Skynet.
again.
The future
and
is
there's
not
another
Skynet. It's Legion.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Whatever it is, it's some more bullshit because mankind's garbage, and the whole purpose of the film is to tell you that
And it
like,
happens in, like,
we're gonna fuck
2024.
ourselves anyway or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
So basically, that's what ends up happening. It's like they send another person back to save this other girl who ends up leading the resistance.
You think
against
she's the
AI
mother of
in
the resistance?
future.
Like she's going to give birth to a kid who's going to lead the resistance? But it's like, no, it's her. She's going to lead the resistance. And they came back to kill her. The guy who played the Terminator who came back to kill her was awesome. I really liked him a lot.
He was great.
He was
yeah.
great. I didn't like
He was
the
very
CG.
like he had that very like Patrick. What's his name?
Robert Patrick.
Robert
but,
Patrick.
But no, he was better than T-1000 because he was able to adapt even better to circumstances where he could
I just
be
mean
funny,
like his
he could be
performance
very
was
human.
very like
Yes.
like he was able to sell like he could blend in
Yes.
really quickly. And you're like, this insidious motherfucker.
Yeah.
Like
Oh wow. Okay.
he's
He
really
could be
good.
he could be funny, but like and charming. Like he could fake being human
Yeah.
really well, but at the same time you were still aware that he was a Terminator. I thought the guy did a great job.
Yeah.
So again,
There are cool twists and stuff on the. I think you're right. Yeah. Now having kind of like gone back and like in my my mind box.
talking about we actually really
Yeah.
know when it ended. We were like, that was a really good movie. For me, it was honestly all the CG that really took me out of it because it felt like every other movie, and Terminator is not supposed to feel like every other movie. And if you watch Terminator 2 and you watch the first Terminator, which had no CG, those movies really worked. And there's something about that CG thing that does take you out of it, and especially in a movie that was so grounded like those first two.
And
They
it's
just
rough
did it.
because there's some awesome set pieces in this movie. Like there's
Yeah.
some great moments where you're like, man, if that wasn't CG, that'd be so badass.
Yeah.
Like, how did they film that? Like,
Yeah.
that's fucking crazy. Like,
And maybe they just wouldn't get the okay from the studio to do it or
no,
whatever.
dude, they all would like that one scene at the dam or whatever. They all would have been dead. Like,
No, you just do
They
it
would've-
different. You do different set pieces. You do something different. I'm just saying they were able to do it Terminator 2, and you keep thinking that people want that. They don't want that. I'm telling you, I know what the people want. They don't want that. They don't need it to be huge, blow 'em up, goddamn destruction. Like we don't need that. We just need a good story, grounded.
I got I don't know. I saw some bunch of headlines and people seem to be complaining about Linda Hamilton being back just because she's like older.
Yeah,
and I was like,
bullshit.
oh, I didn't even.
Nah.
That never occurred to me that was a
was
problem.
good,
And
yeah.
I'm like, I don't care at all. I think
She was
it's
good.
fine.
I mean, I liked her better in Terminator 2 as a character. I thought they gave her more to
but
do.
she didn't like.
But I thought
I
she
don't
was
think there
good.
was any moments in this film where I was like, oh, they shouldn't have brought her back.
Yeah.
Like I never thought that. Like I was like,
No.
I'm okay with this.
Yeah, totally.
This
okay
is
with it.
fine.
You know, this literally went into let's talk about movies into talk about like its own Terminator podcast.
No,
Which
no,
is- I'm fine.
done,
I'm
like,
just no.
we've only on like
no,
5-10 minutes.
No, it's been 13 minutes.
Oh, you're out of your ass. You're out of
Am
your
I-
ass.
Am I?
Are you gonna see this movie?
So not in theaters.
He's gonna
I'm
see
not-
it eventually, though. Yeah.
Eventually.
Yeah, don't say it in theaters now that we've spoiled major plot
We actually,
points.
yeah. Okay,
No,
we,
we
spoiled all of it, I
started.
think.
You guys started this conversation
all of it.
at 28 minutes, and it's now 43 minutes.
Okay.
Okay.
So
15 minutes. You were wrong.
I don't know. I think people should see it if they're into Terminator.
Yeah, it's a
definitely
good
go see
movie.
it. But see Dr. Sleep first.
they,
It's so good.
Yeah. Zombieland Double Tap, by the way, was really good. If you
Oh,
like the
yeah.
first one,
I still haven't seen.
if you
that,
like the first
goddammit.
one, you'll love this one. Honestly, like they go hand in hand. I thought they really did a good job. But Jojo Rabbit, one of my favorite movies of the year.
Yeah.
That one, out of all of these, probably
what?
Jojo Rabbit.
You gonna
the
see that in theaters?
You know,
Nope.
the Hitler Youth or whatever. It's so good.
Dude.
It's got.
I'm
It's
just
funny.
You don't want to see Adolf like jumping and skipping on
look.
screen?
I get no. There needs
the
to be
matter?
something specific for
Great.
me to go to the theater. It has. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
It has to be very. Unless my wife wants to go watch something in the theater, I'm not. I like the theater experience.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm good with watching my streamings.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm okay. If there's something like, I possibly will go watch the last Star Wars just because it's
Possibly,
the last
dude.
one in
This is
theaters.
the- It is
the
I
last one.
possibly
Well, this
will
is
go
the
watch
last
it.
of like there's going to be like
Skywalker
1,000
saga.
more.
Yeah.
Yeah. Didn't Marvel just announce 5 more fucking Marvel films?
Yeah, 4 I think.
next year.
Maybe 5. Yeah.
I think it's 5. Dude.
So we're talking about Star Wars.
But
Gross.
Jojo Rabbit, by the way, is
But
really
Disney
funny.
owns Marvel.
Jojo Rabbit.
Yeah, I know that. I have the streaming service, sir. I can see my selections of Marvel or Star Wars. Because
yeah, that's right. They have
That's
all the
right.
Star Wars films
They
on Disney
do.
Plus. Anyway,
They do.
sorry.
There's a lot of stuff.
Jojo Rabbit is funny,
Yeah.
but it also has a lot of heart. Like it
Yeah.
really, and because it's set during World War II.
I
and
also
invasion, not,
we
like-
had this conversation. I was like, if this movie is just a straight comedy with like no heart and like they don't take anything seriously, I'm like, I don't know how people are going to react. Like
Yeah.
that's going to be a
It
hard
doesn't
pill to
do that at
swallow.
all.
It's a
There's
satire.
trauma in it.
From what I heard, it's a satire.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
But you got to have
Just
some
watch it.
heart to like justify having Hitler run around and be a hilarious character.
Yeah,
like
there's
where
trauma
you're
in
well,
it.
that's
connecting
like
with
trauma.
Hitler.
me
you know?
sitting here and talking
It's
about
actually fucking
Good Boys.
great.
I mean, Good Boys was like a lot of people were talking about, like, oh my gosh, these kids are doing adult humor.
Yeah.
It was funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were into like
They were sweet though. They were sweet kids. They were like at least 2 out of like they were actually nice kids that were not.
It was
pieces of
really
shit. Like,
interesting because the thing is, if you really look at that film, that's realistic. Like I had friends at that age who talk about some of that stuff. I have friends that
That was me.
fucking did, like, we didn't have a drone, but race cars and whatever. I remember those days.
Yeah.
We went through all this stuff. We tried to do crazy things and stuff.
It's
like
a little
that.
worse now.
We try.
I think. Because of your
I
accessibility.
tried
too.
to steal comic books from a comic store. It was realistic.
Yeah.
Kids say that shit. You don't sit here and say, we can't let kids hear that stuff. The motherfuckers, when you're not around, they're saying all that shit. Kids
Yeah.
cuss. It's very rare. Kids don't. So it was an honest film. But I did feel it was pushy on the jokes, on the sexual jokes and stuff like that. But I think that if you want to have a good time, you want to watch something that's gonna be comic, just get a little comic relief. You should watch it.
Good
Yeah.
Boys is good. Yeah.
All right.
Jojo Rabbit is more serious than Good Boys. Like it's got more serious elements, but it's really it's a beautiful movie. That's actually what I was saying. It's shot beautifully.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining us here at Get to the Podcast. That's Get to the Podcast with the number 2. My name is Tiger Booza.
Wow, his own name.
Yo.
All right, we'll
That's
see.
because y'all
Leave it at
talked
that.
20 minutes longer.
Leave it at that. That's why.
Yeah.
You try to punch it in the dark, man.
Yeah.
All right, this is Nick Gambino. Okay, go ahead. I'm not
Oh,
gonna
yeah,
correct
did
it.
We're gonna
No,
do it
fuck
again?
his name. You
Fuck
do
my
it.
name. Yeah, just screw it.
Let's do
Keep
it over.
moving
Let's do it
forward.
over. Do it over.
All right, rewind. All right, guys. Thank you for joining us here at Get to the Podcast. That's Get to the Podcast with the number 2. My name is Diego D'Souza.
Lame. Nick Gambino.
And I'm Neil Carson.
Did he just call himself lame?
I did. Yeah, that's what I did.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.